Hi, and welcome to my very first video talking about aeronautic English. So I've been on YouTube quite a while ago, but I was dedicated to more general English, business English, and now it's been about 3 years, nearly 4, that I'm 100% dedicated to aviation English, and I focus mainly on pilots, future pilots, professional pilots in particular, and I've decided to share my experience as an English teacher, aviation English teacher now, and in particular certified examiner for the FCL 055. So the goal of this channel is to help students, to help future pilots, in particular French speakers, because I'm a native French speaker, to feel more comfortable with English, to develop the right skills and get confident speaking English in order to be safe. And that's really my goal here. My objective is to make sure that you use English the right way so that your communications with the ATC are safe, and also a little bit that you enjoy talking English. So the choice of this very first video is actually from my own experience when I took the decision to dedicate all my lessons to aviation English, and in particular to pilots. I didn't know anything about the FCL 055. I had some ideas, and I was pretty sure that there were only one type of exam, which was the DGAC version. The main reason was that one of my students was actually preparing this exam, and he only knew about the DGAC version. And I started to do some research because I wanted to help my students. I wanted to show them the right thing, prepare them the right way. And I was kind of confronted to a complete desert in terms of information. I really struggled to find information. And I don't think 3 years later, it's better. I still have quite the same questions from people on Instagram or people who contact me. We don't really know what is the FCL 055, how is the exam, and actually the FCL 055 is not really the name of the exam, it's more the document that guides and gives all the criteria that test center need to follow. And it took me quite a few months to actually understand that and get information. So my goal in this first video is kind of save you time and try to give you the basics so that you understand what is this exam, how we kind of mark. I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but that's going to be some sort of an introduction of the FCL 055, or what we call the ELP test as well, English language proficiency. And I really hope that this video will help you and limit your research so that you don't have to spend hours like I did. And I actually ended up having the information I needed by becoming a certified examiner. And this only happened because one center contacted me and offered me to become an examiner, I think a few months after I decided to actually become aviation English teacher only. Today I'm actually certified for 2 centers, and I'm still searching for information. I'm still learning stuff, and I don't know everything about the FCL because I think around the world there are so many different types of exams and so many different way of marking that exam, which is kind of an issue, but we're not going to go through that right now, maybe later in another video. So the first thing to understand about the FCL is that there are 2 types of FCL. There are the new generations ones, which are usually online and available from many centers. And there's the DGAC version. So here I'm talking about the French version. So if you're not French, you might not know what I'm talking about, but the DGAC is kind of the, let's say, to simplify, the government version. So the main difference is that if you decide to do it in the DGAC, that's kind of an old test, and it's standard test from one DGAC center to another. So if you do it in Paris, or if you do it in I don't know, Bordeaux, you'll get the same type of exam. However, that standard is not the standard for all the centers which are new generations, and actually not at all. If you decide to do it online, you will have something a bit more modern. However, from one center to another, the format will be different. The standards are the way that we mark, the way that we assess your level. So the format of the exam is different, but we assess the same sort of skills. Recently, a document has been published in order to try to standardize a bit more the centers, but the time that it takes place, depending on when you're watching this video, maybe you will have more standard. At the moment, while I'm actually filming this video, there's not really standard. If you decide to take new generation versions, there are some common exercises that you can be confronted to in order to assess your English level. I think the most common one is probably the image description. The image description is a very interesting exercise because we can assess different skills. We assess your pronunciation, your fluency, your vocabulary, your structure, and this is kind of and also your interaction, because we interact with you during the image description. So this is a very complete exercise, and that's probably the reason why the image description is part of a lot of exam center format. It doesn't mean you will have it, just depends on the format that you decide to take, the test center you decide to take. And this is also why it's very important to kind of do a research first on which exam center you want to take, and know their format in advance before you start preparing yourself. Another common exercise is the simulated flight, which is literally an ATC and a pilot discussing or exchanging just like they would do on a flight. So they will use mainly phraseology and radio communication procedures. So in this case, we are going to assess your communication using phraseology, but we're not in a cockpit. So when you do this exercise, you are not in real situation. It's actually a role play. So you're playing the pilot and the examiner is the ATC. Sometimes you have an emergency situation, sometimes no. It really depends, and it's roughly about 10 minutes. Another common exercise is the open question. You usually have open question to be able to show your interaction, your comprehension, and it's generally a technical question, but the examiners are never here to assess your technical knowledge. However, I've noticed that if you come to the test with absolutely no technical knowledge, you're kind of stuck a little bit with your content and what to say. So in a way, it kind of affects the way that you speak, your fluency. You're going to be more hesitant. So I would recommend you to have a little bit of technical knowledge before you take the test to be more confident and actually have content to give, and then it will not affect your language skills. Finally, I will just talk about the 6 skills that we assess when you take an FCL test. We assess pronunciation, structure, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, and interaction. And if you want to have the minimum level required to be able to use your instrument rating and to travel in another country, you need a minimum level 4. A level 4 is kind of an equivalent for upper intermediate, which is sort of a B2, but in aviation context and with phraseology, of course. And then a level 5 and a level 6 are higher levels, and level 6 is valid for life, level 5 valid for 6 years, and level 4 valid for 4 years. If you're below level 4, you failed your exam and you have to retake it. Right, that's it for today. I'll probably do another video where I explain a bit more in detail those skills. But if you have any questions or any comments concerning today's video, feel free to ask me in the comments. And I recommend you to watch my latest video, and I see you in the next one.